Welcome to r/Am I the Jerk, where Karen is making her husband take a paternity test. My wife is demanding I take a paternity test for her friend's baby. I'm honestly at a complete loss right now, and I just need to vent. My wife, who's 31, and I, 33 male, have been married for 5 years. We have no kids, and up until a few weeks ago, I thought everything between us was solid, until she blindsided me. She has a friend, Jazz, who's 30, female, who she sees a few times a month. Jazz recently gave birth to a baby boy, and out of nowhere, about 3 weeks ago, my wife told me to take a paternity test to prove I'm not the father of Jazz's son. I honestly thought that she was joking. I laughed, expecting her to laugh too, but the seriousness in her eyes made my stomach drop. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've never felt so disheartened and disrespected in my life. For context, I met Jazz almost a year ago at a family gathering. I've never been alone with her, never had any sort of relationship or inappropriate interaction with her. I don't even know her that well, and the only resemblance I have with the baby is his nose, and my nose isn't that uncommon. I've never cheated on my wife, never even thought about it. I don't look at other women, let alone give them any attention. I've always been loyal and transparent. I even gave my wife access to my phone to show her I haven't been in contact with Jazz or anybody else inappropriately. She found nothing and still insists I take the test, even threatening to divorce me if I don't. I told her I wouldn't take the test because I've done nothing wrong. I've given her no reason to doubt me, but she's still pushing for it, and I honestly don't understand why. It feels like no matter what I say or do, she just doesn't trust me anymore. The fact that she's questioning my loyalty and accusing me of something so serious has completely changed how I see her and our marriage. Since she brought it up, she's been cold towards me. It feels like she's already made up her mind and nothing I say matters anymore. The only time she talks to me is if it's about the DNA test. I haven't slept properly since this started. I lie awake at night, wondering where things went wrong. The thought that she believes I'm capable of cheating is eating me alive, and the whole thing is so odd. Jazz and I barely exchanged words. The only time we ever talk is to say hello or goodbye when she picks my wife up at our house and drops her off. I can't understand how my wife would think I'd have an affair. Some family members have said I should just take the test and get it over with. But for me, it's about more than just that. It feels like my wife is questioning my entire character and everything we've built together. By taking the test, it feels like I'd be admitting that I'm a cheater, and I can't do that. I haven't done anything wrong, and taking this test feels like I'm betraying myself and my integrity. I'm stuck. Do I just take the test to calm her down, even though it feels like I'm betraying my integrity, or do I refuse and risk losing my wife? I honestly don't know what to do. Initially, I thought she was cheating and just projecting, but she's not. We have an open phone policy, and I've looked through her phone and Google location, which has never been switched off, and I found nothing. She works from home and doesn't leave the house a lot except to go out with Jazz. We have cameras by our house, and I went back far to see if any man had ever come to our house, and there was nothing. She always says where she's going, and her Google location backs it up. It's not like she's going out to clubs. What does Jazz say about all of this? Surely you can't just roll up for a paternity test on someone else's baby without their permission. Who is Jazz involved with? I mean, the baby's actual father. He's also got a dog in this game. Do the baby's real parents know that your wife wants you to do this? This is all very odd. The fact that the wife came home out of the blue to demand a test means something or someone happened to make her ask for this. Someone put this in her mind that he cheated on her with her friend. Give her an ultimatum. If the test proves I'm not the father, divorce papers will be signed immediately, and see how she responds. Take the test and put the DNA results in an envelope. If she opens it, give her an envelope with divorce papers in it. She's obviously having some sort of meltdown, or she's projecting hard and is cheating on you. I accidentally had my baby at my friend's house, and now she's upset. I have a close friend group of 7 women, including myself, all around the same age, 26 to 32. Some of us have known each other since we were kids, so naturally, some of us are closer than others. We usually have a girls' night every month, but this time we decided to keep it low-key with a movie night at Ella's house, especially since both Sarah and I are pregnant. I was 36 weeks along at the time. I had been feeling some discomfort for a few days, which I was told was normal, but suddenly things escalated fast. Things got blurry after that. I went from being uncomfortable to active labor in no time. I didn't feel comfortable moving, so someone called our version of 911. With the help of the EMTs, my baby, who apparently has perfect timing and a flair for the dramatic, was born right there on Ella's sofa. The girls were amazing and super supportive, But when the EMTs arrived, they asked most of them to leave. I was grateful because it was all very overwhelming. I only asked Grace to stay. She and I have been friends since we were little, and by then I had already crushed her hand, her words. She's also a nurse, which helped. The weeks since have been a whirlwind. Despite the chaos, both the baby and I are fine. My partner was initially upset that she missed the birth, but she quickly moved on once she saw the baby. The issue now is that Ella has been distant ever since. She's the only one who hasn't come by. When I apologized and thanked her, she sent me a bill for the sofa. I don't mind paying it, but it still felt a bit harsh. Sarah and a few others mentioned that Ella was upset because I and the EMTs sent her outside during the birth. I love these girls, but I was already panicking, and having everyone there was just too much. It seems like Ella was really hurt though. Sarah and Grace told me that at first, Ella didn't want to leave. I don't remember this, saying it was her house and she wanted to be there for the birth. Apparently, Sarah was the one who told her it wasn't about her and got her to step outside. For context, Ella had asked months ago if she could be there for the birth, but my partner and I had already decided it would be just us. I'm not sure how to fix this. I feel guilty, but my wife says I shouldn't. How do I approach this? Ella barely wants to talk to me, and she's been distant with the other girls too. The situation has been wild for us, but also for Ella, and I hadn't really considered that. That's on me. I'm going to try reaching out again, pay her back for everything, which I know I should, and hopefully work things out. I care about her, and I want to make this better. I don't think it's just about the sofa, but there's only one way to find out. I mean, you couldn't control when you went into labor, but it is on you to pay for her couch. I'm surprised you didn't offer to pay for the sofa after the fact. Pay her for the sofa and set up a time to talk to her directly. Make it clear you want to hash it out and clear the air. Maybe try and schedule a time to pay her in person so you can talk then. I wouldn't have waited for a bill for the cleaning. I would have arranged for her to get a whole new couch before it got to the point of the friend sending the bill. Pay the sofa, nurse your baby, and move on. Ella doesn't matter at all. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or Ella? Please let us know. She should be thanking you. Now she has a red couch instead of a boring old gray one. If you can find a better place to stay, by all means, go ahead. We've been getting a couple of storms lately, and it's been heavy rain and wind for the past week. It's bad enough that certain areas have been evacuated. I live in a solid house that can handle this level of wind and rain, and flooding isn't a concern where I'm located. So I let relatives, friends, and neighbors know that they're welcome to stay here if they need a place. That's when my Aunt Kay, who's in her 60s, my mom's sister, arrived with her 3 kids, who are 32, 28, and 20, and their kids. Aunt Kay is a hassle, and honestly, I'd rather not deal with her, but her place isn't in a good spot, so I let them stay at my house until the storm blows over. Aunt Kay has been nagging and complaining nonstop. All she does is sit around on her phone, griping about everything. Her kids have told her to stop, but that just turns into a raging, screaming mess. One day, while we were in the living room, Aunt Kay walked in and started complaining to another aunt, Emma. Aunt Emma tried to shut her down, but nothing stops Aunt Kay once she gets going. Aunt Kay went on to say that she could find a better place, even though it had been raining all week with strong winds. Stepping outside was risky. You could get pelted by rain or even blown away if you weren't careful. As her oldest was telling her to quit, Aunt Kay just kept going on and said that my house sucked, adding that whoever built it didn't have any brains. That set me off because my parents designed this house and they poured their heart and soul into it. I told her, if you don't like my place, then leave and find a better one. Aunt Kay looked offended and started whining to Aunt Emma about what I just said. Aunt Emma wasn't having it and told her off before hanging up the call. Aunt Kay tried to retreat to her bed, but I told her she had to leave and find another place. She refused to apologize, claiming that I was being sensitive and needed to respect my elders. I reminded her that respect goes both ways, and since she could find a better place, she should go. I wasn't backing down, so she gathered her stuff. When she realized her kids and grandkids weren't leaving with her, she wasn't happy. I gave her an umbrella and some cash for fare. That happened around 9 a.m. By 2 p.m., she came back, drenched and defeated. She quietly apologized and begged to be let back in. It turns out she had gone to some of her friends' places and even her boyfriend's, but they were either gone or told her off for messing around in the storm. Now she just lays around and keeps quiet. I don't mind if she still complains, as long as I don't have to hear it. Edit. This happened in the Philippines. She did return the umbrella, but not the cash. It was only $5, 250 pesos, for fare. This is nothing new from her. She always tries to push boundaries to get her way. but if I'm around, I call her out. She's big on respecting your elders, but what she did was a massive disrespect. Insulting hospitality is a serious offense, and she's been getting verbal smackdowns from other relatives for what she did. Would I be the jerk if I didn't do what my mother promised to someone on my behalf? I, 39 female, am low contact with my family. I'm an artist, not famous, but I have some recognition in my field. My family was not very supportive of my career choice until I started becoming successful and other people praised me. So I'm a bit sour now that my mother, who's 63, is trying to get involved in my career, especially because she does things behind my back that I don't approve of. For example, I gave her some free prints of my work, thinking she wanted to give them to friends. A few months later, she asked me if I had more because she had already sold the ones she had received. I was mortified because these were free prints. I got them for free to give away and she knew that, and I gave them to her for free and she decided to make money off of them. So obviously, I didn't give her any more prints. Now, she has apparently promised someone a print signed by me, and she told me this on the phone. She knows I'm going to be mad, but she already did it, so I need to sign a print and send it to them. I asked her why she did it when she knew it would upset me. Her response, "I wasn't thinking." This has been her response to anything I've called her out on for years. She never apologizes. She just says it's not her fault that she did something without thinking about it, and then she blames me for being angry because it hurts her. Also, she's not senile, but she keeps forgetting when I ask her not to do something. This is not the first time she has gone behind my back and done something like this. I wasn't buying her excuse, and she told me that she hadn't actually promised it to the person 100%. She just said she could probably get it for them. She ended up crying, so I caved and said that while I'm not giving her another free print, if she can buy one and get it to me, I live in a different city, then I'll sign it for them. However, the exchange between my mother and that person was on Facebook in a public post, and I found it, and she lied to me. The person, who knows she's my mother, asks if there's a chance I might sign the print, and my mother replies, "Sure," smiley face. So she actually did promise it without asking me if it was okay. So I got upset again. Just to be clear, I don't have an issue with signing that print for someone. I'd do it if I was normally asked. It just really bothers me that to my mother, I don't seem to deserve any consideration. So I'm conflicted because I know what she's doing is emotional manipulation and I don't want to give in. But also, that person who asked for his signature did it in good faith and was promised something I don't mind giving. Edit. I don't normally give in to my mother. This is the one time I'm considering doing it because it's a minor thing, and I believe the person who asked for this signature meant well and wasn't aware that my mother was promising it without my knowledge. My mother would have to buy the print for me to sign because I'm not giving her free ones anymore. I'm not asking if I'd be the bad guy towards my mother because I don't care. My consideration is for the other person. Not the jerk. The only way to stop this pattern is to stop capitulating to her. So I agree, she or they can buy the item and get it to you to sign. Don't make this happen for her. She puts in all the effort. And have one final conversation with her or an email and tell her you will no longer honor obligations she makes on your behalf. If she forgets, you will remind her, and it will be on her to fix any misunderstandings. If she asks some version of, "Well, what are you going to do?" your answer is, "Nothing. This is for you to fix and explain yourself." Every time you accommodate her, you are teaching her to continue. Don't get mad. This is very important because she's using that against you. Calmly refer back to your original email. If she has to clean up messes or clear up a misunderstanding, she will stop because that will be stressful for her. Am I the jerk for moving in with my grandparents and telling my mom I'm done supporting her? My mom had me, 16 female, when she was 18. My dad was some guy she hooked up with at college, and for years it was just the two of us. She didn't want to go back to her hometown so my grandparents could help us. She didn't even tell them about me for several years and then used a 6-year-old me to break the news to them. Not only did she use me to break the news, but she had me ask them if we could stay there for a while. She coached me to do the puppy dog eyes and make it good. I did all of that because she asked, and I was 6. When she wanted me to lie about my father, I did. When she wanted me to lie about where we had lived before, I did. I did everything she asked. I followed her along eagerly for the most part when she was bouncing between guys and putting those relationships before me. I even shared a room with a random baby and a toddler when I was 8 because mom's then boyfriend only had one extra room where his kids slept. I tried to speak up once about wanting mom to focus more on me. She figured out what I was going to say and gave me this guilt trip about needing to be put first because she had me so young, and how she needed me to get on board, so I never tried again. 4 years ago, she met her husband and dated him online during lockdown. They moved in together 3 years ago and got married 2 weeks after we moved in. It was him, his 3 kids, my mom, and me. His kids spent some time with their mom, but were there with us a lot too. I hated it, honestly, but for mom, I said nothing. She put more effort into his kids than she did me, and it stung a lot. They were younger, but so what? I was still her kid too. She treated me more like an older sister by burdening me with her issues and asking me for help with them. So I started spending more time with my grandparents and began to thrive. Then her husband's ex passed, and my mom and her husband wanted to take in her other kids, not mom's stepkids. Mom told me she and her husband were adopting them all. At that point, I just gave up and asked my grandparents if I could live with them. There were some custody things still being worked out, so I was only living with those other kids a couple of days. Mom was shocked when I told her I wanted to stay with her parents, but she let me, thinking it was temporary. However, after more than a month, she realized I was serious. She tried to get me to come and spend time with her and bond with the kids and help out around the house. I said no. She said they'll be my official siblings in a year and that we need to give them a good life. I told her no, they'll be her kids, and I won't be because she never treated me like I was. I told her I don't want to give those kids a good life or be their sister. I don't want to help her or her husband. I don't want to put her first anymore. I told her I'm done supporting her. Mom started crying, her husband went off on me, and he accused me of cruelty and abandoning my family. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Just as your mother has put her needs first, you need to put your needs first. You have no obligation to be her Cinderella so she can pretend she's a good mother. Go live your own life. Would I be the jerk for divorcing my wife after she cheated after her parents passed? About a month ago, my wife's parents both passed in an accident. She's been an emotional mess. We live in her hometown, so we've been seeing her family and friends often. I've been supportive in every way that I can. I've taken care of all of the house chores and have been there for her every day. Here's where things get complicated. She has an ex, let's call him Luke. Luke isn't just her ex, he's still a friend and was her first love. They were high school sweethearts, and Luke was almost like another kid to her parents. Their passing has affected him a lot too. Honestly, I didn't like the fact that they were still friends at first, but I trust my wife, so I moved on from those feelings. A few days ago, my wife said she was going out with her family. I offered to go with her, but she insisted on going alone. She didn't come back until the next morning. I tried calling her and her family members, but no one knew where she was. When she finally returned, she was a wreck. I asked her where she had been all night. She told me she had messed up, really messed up. I tried to calm her down and told her it was okay to talk to me. That's when she said that she had hooked up with Luke. I didn't react much at first. I just told her I needed some time to think. She has apologized countless times since then. Eventually, I asked her to explain what happened. She said she met up with Luke and they were both emotional wrecks. They reminisced about her parents, which led to them remembering their relationship. They had been drinking and it just happened. I'm so conflicted now. My wife is probably going through the worst time of her life, but I don't think I want to be with her anymore. I'm furious with her. Honestly, her saying no to you coming with her makes this seem like it was pre-planned. Not the jerk. There's a lot of accidents that can occur when grieving. Taking up smoking, drinking as vices to combat pain. Cheating with an ex is not one of them. She's chosen who she wants to have support her through this, and it's not you. Not the jerk. Not the jerk. But I love it when this happens to guys like you who are okay with their wives staying close with exes. I have a few exes that I'm still friends with benefits with, even though they are married. I never feel bad about it either. If a man can't protect his relationship by setting boundaries, then he deserves whatever happens. Edit. How would I feel if I were the husband in this position? Like a total loser, but I never will be. If I ever get married, my wife wouldn't be having anything to do with her exes because I know how guys are. But please keep telling these guys to trust your wife and be secure in your relationship. That's the reason it's so easy for me to hook up with my ex-girlfriends who are now married. Am I the jerk for taking over a family therapy session with my rant? I'm a 16-year-old male currently in family therapy with my dad, his wife, my sister who's 14, and my step-siblings who are 10, 9, and 7. This blended family situation is still pretty new as my dad remarried 2 years ago. My mom passed, so I only have one home. To be honest, I was never excited or into the idea of a blended family, but I know that's not my decision. All three of my step-siblings have food allergies, and two of them have severe ones. Because of this, the way we eat has changed a lot. This includes places we used to go that were part of our family traditions. For most of my life, we would eat at a local noodle bar in town to celebrate the end of the school year or any school events, plays, graduations, report cards, etc. Now, we're not allowed to go there anymore because of their allergies. Even when it's just me and Dad, it's still not an option. We can't bring ice cream into the house anymore either because my step-siblings can't have it. Only my dad and his wife are allowed to prepare food, so I can't even make a sandwich for myself anymore. Birthdays have also changed. My sister and I can no longer eat at our favorite restaurant because of my step-siblings' allergies, and we can't bring my favorite dish into the house. Now, we have to go to a place that my step-siblings love and that is safe for their allergies. For 2 years, my dad has been talking about how great it is that we're making all these changes for family and how family is worth it. About 4 months ago, my dad's wife noticed that my sister and I weren't engaging with the family the way that she thought we should. We didn't want to talk to her. She also noticed that my sister had cut her and me out of some family photos and only used pictures of us for her room's art wall. So she and my dad decided we needed family therapy. We officially started therapy about 2 months ago, and there's been a lot of talk about what the problem is and why we're there. My dad has been talking about all the good that comes from having a blended family, and the changes have been mentioned. He keeps saying how happy we all are to make these adjustments. Last week, I got fed up, and when the therapist asked me if I was really okay with all of it, I lost it. I said, no, I'm not okay with the changes. I said I hate them. I think it's unfair. I never said I wanted my step-siblings to be more important at my birthday than having my favorite foods. These decisions were made for me, and I never would have chosen them. Celebrating with my step-siblings isn't that important to me. I'd rather have a good time with the people I love and enjoy the food that I love. I told them I hate not being able to make a sandwich or buy snacks after school. I basically went off for the whole session, ranting and answering questions the therapist asked. Now my dad is furious with me for what I said, and his wife is really upset because her kids heard everything. She's also mad because she realizes that on some level, I never wanted this. She's also kind of annoyed that I spent the entire session ranting. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Your dad could have taken the time to have private dinners with you and your sister at favorite spots occasionally. It shouldn't always be about the blended family, and not allowing you to make a sandwich when you're hungry is nuts. Karen demands to put a tracker on my phone. I'm 28, female. My life has not turned out the way I wanted it to. I still live at home with my parents who are extremely controlling. All my friends have left the country, and so I'm on my own a lot. Most of my time is spent at home, at work, or going on solo walks. I don't drink, I don't go to the gym or play sports anymore. I don't have hobbies outside the house. I haven't dated anyone for 7 years. All in all, a very uninteresting life. My one solace is being outdoors in nature and walking. My parents aren't happy with this. They think I shouldn't go out on walks by myself because it's dangerous, in their words. I knew it would be better to ease their concerns if I had someone to go on walks with me, but I don't. My mom has been trying to get me to put "share my location" on my phone with her for years. I understand that she worries about my safety. However, the big problem for me is I know it's not just about my safety. She'll use it to become my stalker. I know this because she has my dad share his location with her and vice versa. She sits and stares at her screen and will say things like, "Oh, your father just left tennis. Oh, your father has just arrived at work. Oh, your father is leaving the pub." Now, I don't have anything to hide, but it is one boundary that I've held to, and I've been so proud of myself for not caving. Today, I decided I'd take a trip up the coast and go for a walk along the sea. I told my parents about my plans at 10:30 a.m. My mom asked that I call her and keep in touch. Once I got there, 2 p.m., I called her and told her where I was. I also told her what walk and route I would be taking. I didn't tell her when I would be home, but she also didn't ask. I also didn't message to say I was on my way home. My parents were furious when I arrived back, 8 p.m. My dad told me that I no longer had a say and that it was mandatory for me to have a tracker on my phone. I told him that I had done everything asked of me. I had called, explained where I was going, etc. I also said they could have called me if they were that concerned about my whereabouts. So as a result, I've been punished. The car that I drive is technically my dad's, and so he has taken the keys away. He says that I can buy my own car or grant them access to my tracking information. They said they would never do this to me, hold the fact that they bought the car over my head. Also, it makes no sense for me to buy a new car now. I'm at the final stage of a graduate recruitment process, and if I'm successful, I'll be moving to London in September. However, I need to survive between now and then, and without a car, the little life I have is impossible. So, am I the jerk for refusing to let them put a tracker on my phone when their concern is my safety? Edit. My dad hasn't told me that he has taken the keys. I've got a work event today, and he plans for me to not find them when I need to go. Your parents are incredibly toxic, but you may need to put up with this until you can get out. OP. I'm in my bedroom with my door closed, and my dad just walked past and said, "Stupid jerk," at my door. Trying not to cry that my wonderful day has been ruined, it does feel toxic. Can you take public transport? OP. Yes, I can, but the public transport system here is not very good. My work is a 10-minute drive away, but via public transport, it would take me an hour. I do work from home most days though, so that is something. I could also go to parks that are within walking distance for some outdoors. Do you pay to live there? OP. I only pay a nominal amount of £200 a month, as per my dad's request. I do feel guilty about it, as I know people normally pay a lot more than that. Does your dad know that your mom stalks him? Yes, he does, and he doesn't seem to mind. Do they pay for your phone? They don't pay for my phone, though the car is theirs. Unfortunately, the car I bought had an engine failure. I couldn't afford to just buy another car, so this was the compromise solution. I had actually been considering asking to buy the car from them, but it now seems silly, especially with the London move potentially happening and this drama. Update. Things were very frosty the next couple of days. My mom eventually came to me and said that she was going to address the elephant in the room. She said that she was very disappointed in me, but as I didn't care about her, she will just have to live without it, the tracker on my phone. I think she expected me to cave at that point, but I didn't. I said, "Thank you for understanding," and that was it. The car keys were returned to the drawer and nothing more was said about it from anyone, including my dad. To this day, I have no idea why the 180-degree flip happened. Although you have all helped me realize that I have an unhealthy codependent relationship with my parents, I think it will just take time to set boundaries and learn how to be my own person. I still love them a lot, and I know they love me too, even though we aren't the type of family that says so. Which leads me to my other news. I got the job in London. I've officially moved out, and I'm living there now. It still feels surreal. I know it's going to take some time to get used to living independently, but I'm ready to be my own person and learn how to do things on my own. Honestly, I had given up hope that this day would ever get here. I feel so much happier and can genuinely say that I'm proud of myself. If anyone has any tips for living away from home for the first time, please let me know. Am I the jerk for calling off my engagement over a dog? For some context, I, 24 female, have been dating my fiance, Todd, since early 2021. He's been an amazing person since the very beginning. We met at my job where he started becoming a regular and even asked me out. Todd isn't a huge fan of animals, unlike me, but this was never really a problem because he got along with my dog. I've had my dog since a little before I graduated high school. I volunteered at a local shelter when she came in. A shy little beagle puppy, Nala. She wasn't doing well at the shelter, so I offered to foster her, and well, the rest is history. I moved out of my dad's house when I turned 18, and other than some essentials, she's all I brought with me when I was thrown into adulthood. I got a cheap apartment after that, and it's just been me and her ever since. I don't believe it would be an understatement to say I love her more than anything. Todd knew this. Recently, I found out I was pregnant about 2 months ago. Todd seemed to be more and more agitated with Nala since then, even asking if I'd consider rehoming her. I said no and explained that I was worried about her not eating. She has some pretty bad separation anxiety. We got into a huge argument about it where he began to complain about her fur being all over and about the way that she always sits by my feet when we do things and how I let her on all my furniture. It's my apartment and I bought all the furniture. He also went so far as to say I'd be a terrible mother and neglect our baby if I didn't get rid of her. We went back and forth for a while, and by the end of it, he was just kind of really silent. I assumed that was the end of it and went to our bedroom to calm down a bit. Nala followed me into the room, and I sat with her on the floor for a while, just thinking about some things. We didn't talk for the rest of the night. The next morning, I went through my routine, put Nala in her pen. Todd goes to work earlier in the morning than I do, and I went to work. When I came back, she was gone. Her bed was gone, her toys were gone, and Todd was gone. At first, I was panicking. I thought someone had stolen my Nala. I searched the whole house, and then I called Todd. He didn't answer. I called maybe 15 times before I gave up. At that point, I was starting to think a little more clearly and noticed that all of her things were missing. Her toys, her treats, her pen, her leashes, even her box of winter things that sits on my bookshelf. Then I was angry. Todd is the only person who has a set of keys to my apartment other than me and my landlord adores Nala. I angrily texted Todd a paragraph demanding my dog back or I'd call the police and begin calling shelters to see if I could find her. I had no luck. Todd read the messages, but he didn't reply, only to come home about an hour later angrily shouting at me as soon as he came in. This quickly led to another screaming match where he broke one of my picture frames, and I threatened to call off the wedding and still call the police. I eventually managed to find out he had given my dog to his cousin, who lives in another state. He brought up again how I'd be a terrible mother and how he needed to do this for our family, and that I was only being difficult because I'm pregnant. I told him that he no longer had a family and to get out of my apartment. That was 2 days ago. I've been crying ever since, and I'm working on getting his cousin to give me back my Nala. I blocked Todd on everything, but now his family won't stop harassing me on everything, and his mother is threatening to sue me for the money they put into the wedding. There's still time for them to get a refund. They only paid for catering. I'm really upset right now, but am I the jerk for how I reacted? Edit. I should have specified, but I wrote this while I was worked up, but I did file a police report. They aren't being too helpful at the moment, but they said they would try to contact departments in the other state. Update. I'm talking to the police and to Ted's cousin, but I also did reach out to his family. Apparently, Todd had told them that I was a scammer, that I'd taken the money for the wedding and was planning to divorce him for the money afterward. He also claimed that I was neglecting my dog, and that's why he had to give her away. She's super nervous when I'm not around, so I'm worried they might believe him. I did send his parents a nice lengthy set of screenshots of all the vile things he sent to me and a few of the voicemail recordings. His mother apologized and claimed she had handled him. I've always been pretty close with his family, so I was also pretty upset with the way they reacted after I called off the engagement. Now I understand why. I'm changing all my locks, and I already have a Ring doorbell on my apartment, and I'm going to get more cameras. I do hear you though. I'm honestly not sure I want to bring a baby into this cluster mess. Thanks again, and I'll update you once I've got my fur baby back and his life is ruined. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.